Right, hello everyone. I know this is a bit of a different angle, but here we are. Welcome back to the channel. Now, I know today was meant to be the Hunky Dory review. That's still coming up, right? Because that is a hefty album and a hefty review. We'll obviously have to ensue there. So today we're going back to a little bit more of a simpler style video, and we're going to be counting down my top 5 favourite albums. Well, I guess it's kind of top 7 because I've got some 2 honourable mentions in there. But yeah, let's get started. At number 5, my 5th favourite album of all time is The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. It's a cracking album. Obviously, the birth of the Ziggy Stardust character that would end in the Aladdin Sane album, which is 50 this year. I'm very looking forward to the new half-speed mastered version of that, but I'm not talking about that album for now. I'll talk about that more when I get that version, but yes, so The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust. I made a review on it if you want to go and watch that, but yeah, basically the review is, yeah, it's really, really good. A classic rock album. And it's David Bowie, so it's bound to be good. Speaking of David Bowie, number 4 is the album Let's Dance. It's a fantastic album. It opens with one of my favourite tracks of all time, Modern Love, and you've got China Girl and obviously the title track Let's Dance in there as well. So you've got a cracking album in there. I do have a copy of that on vinyl, but I'm not taking out any of the records today. So yeah, it's a cracking album, definitely worth a listen to. At number 3, we've got the 1990 album from George Michael, Listen Without Prejudice. It's a fantastic album. It's a very, 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 very good album. It opens with Praying for Time, then the world famous Freedom 90, and then the track is followed by a cover of the fantastic Stevie Wonder song They Won't Go When I Go. It's a beautiful cover of it as well. It's a really, really good song, so I definitely recommend a listen to that. So yeah, it's a great album. I also, one of my personal highlights from that particular album is the final track on it, Waiting, Reprise. It's a really, really sweet song, and it's a great song to end the album on. Now we're on to number 2, and it's Wham! Make It Big. A classic album. Obviously Wham's probably most famous album. You've got Fantastic in there as well. But yeah, it's a cracking album. And I can just stick that on whenever and it'll cheer me up, you know. It's got such good tracks. Once again, I made a review on that if you want to go and watch that. But I'll be making reviews of all the rest of the albums on this list, you'll be sure of that. But let's go into the honourable mentions now. So, honourable mention number 1 is the album, the very, very famous album from Fleetwood Mac, Rumours. I recently got the vinyl copy of it, and it's a really, really good album. The way I sort of gauge how good an album is whether I can listen to it all the way through without having to feel like I need to skip a track. But yeah, it's a really, really good album. It's famous for a reason, and the reason is that it's good, basically, so definitely worth a listen to that. My second honourable mention is the Hunky Dory by David Bowie. I'm gonna do a review on it, you'll be sure of that. But basically my main thoughts are it's a really, really good album. I just couldn't fit it on the list, basically. So it's a really good album anyway, definitely worth listening to that. I mean, Changes, Life on Mars, Are You Pretty Things, and everything else. It's a really, really good album, so definitely recommend a listen to that one. So my number 1, my all-time favourite album of all time is Faith by George Michael. I did a review on it. I think it was the first review here on the channel, one of the first ones. But it's my favourite. Obviously, it's my favourite album of all time. I love every track on the album. I adore every track on the album. I did a review on it, like I said, if you want to see my full thoughts. But yeah, it's a really excellent album. And yeah, I definitely recommend listening to it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. Next week is the Hunky Dory album, hopefully. So that'll be coming out next week. So I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope you enjoyed this one. I apologise for that not being a video last week. I was busy, basically. But yeah, I hope to see you next week in a review of Hunky Dory by David Bowie. So I'll see you there. Goodbye, everyone.